Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek The Next Generation Season 4, Episode 19. It's called The Nth Degree. So full spoilers for the episode as always, and we are back after a almost 2-month break. Might even be exactly 2 months, if I look into it. But Connor's computer broke, so we couldn't record a Next Gen for a while. But we are back here in 2021 with new episodes. Rejoice.
Yes. New episodes of the now ancient show.
Yes, well, you know, we're here. We got Barclay back, so that's good. We got a Barclay focused episode to kick us off. Basically, he gets flashed with an alien entity, which turns him into a really confident, really intelligent, almost like supernaturally intelligent guy. And everyone's like, something's wrong. Barclay's good at things. Something's not right here. And the episode even starts with him. Crusher's got like a little acting class she's been doing with people, apparently. So they put on a little play with Barclay and her. And he's forgetting lines. He's doing okay, but he's kind of bumbling a little bit. He's forgetting lines.
Very nervous.
Yeah, to the point where Data is confused why everyone's clapping at the end, and Riker has to be like, "It's polite, Data. It's polite." Just okay. Yeah. So that's the gist of the episode, more or less. We'll get into it, of course. What did you think of the Nth Degree?
It's mostly pretty fun. I think there are a couple of points that stood out to me as weird, like. Before it's clear that there's something wrong with Barclay, they're a bit shitty to him.
Yeah, the reactions to him being good at things did make me laugh a little bit, and maybe not in a healthy way. But I mean, I had fun with that mostly. There was definitely some chuckles to be had throughout. There was a really nice 2001. In fact, even the episode as a whole is kind of a comedy send up of 2001: A Space Odyssey in some ways.
Yeah, I definitely see it that way.
And I think there's a direct reference to it at one point where he says, I can't do that, Captain. Very nice. I can't do that, Dave. So
God, I should watch that movie again.
I'll be watching it soon because it's going to be episode 100 of the Atomic Cinema Experiment coming very, very soon. So exciting.
I got to see it in a cinema and that was pretty great. But I mean, just being in a cinema would be nice. Seeing anything in a cinema would be pretty great right now.
We'll see. I don't know. Your bond's getting pushed again to the end of the year, so good luck with that.
I know. I don't know. Look, just for context, the last movie I saw in the cinema was Birds of Prey. Now, I like Birds of Prey. I like it a lot.
No Time to Die.
But
yes. Plenty of time, apparently, because it keeps getting pushed back. No, this episode was not bad. It's kind of a fun episode. It's not one that I think will stick out as being super memorable. What I did like about it, though, is that it was a really nice follow-up to Barclay's last episode, and the idea of like his escapades in the holodeck evolving into a more healthier version where he's taking up some theatre performances. He's doing a little bit of this, and he's sharing it with people because he feels like he did a bad job at the start, and Troy's like, no, like you're sharing your love with people, and that's much healthier. It's much better. Even if it's not perfect, shouldn't say that last part, but that's essentially the point she's getting across to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the actual plot, though, once it gets going, is that one of the satellite relays out in deep space is malfunctioning. It's not been operational for a while, so the Enterprise goes to check it out. There is a weird probe that no one can recognize. The satellites themselves have got a bunch of reactors on them, and they're going to blow eventually. There's a flash from the satellite, which affects Barclay, as we mentioned. He's out for a little bit, but when he wakes up, he's very confident. He starts solving problems. He starts even correcting Geordi. He starts correcting high-ranking members of officials. He comes up with the plan, because at one point, the satellite starts chasing, or the drone rather, this alien drone starts chasing them, and they kind of run it. It keeps like picking up speed. It's keeping up with them at warp 2, beyond all the impulse speeds they try. And it's actually, and they can't shoot it with the torpedoes because it's too close, it'll damage the ship. But Barclay does some, fancy engineering stuff. He sort of like ignores Geordi and does something, and it increases the shield capacity by 300%, which will be enough to take the blast, and it solves the problem. So you even pick out, thank you, Lieutenant Barclay, thank you.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments that's weird for me. Is afterwards in the aftermath and they're discussing it, and Joy's like, nah, I don't buy this shit. And I'm like, Jordy, you pull shit out your ass every other episode. The minute someone else does it, it's humanly impossible.
Yeah, I mean, later on, he is literally debating with the hologram or the holodeck representation of Albert Einstein, and because he's basically trying to solve the new math problem of the reactors on the satellite, and he's with Einstein, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, he probably didn't because obviously he's in heavy makeup, totally like Einstein. But that was Bishop Brennan from Father Ted who was playing Einstein there.
Actually, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't notice. No.
Yeah, because he popped up in Babylon 5 recently. Well, I say recently, recently to
Recently
me.
for your reviews, yes.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, he's been in other things.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him outside of Father Ted.
Yes, I also, when I looked him up there just to double check it was... I didn't even double check, I didn't notice it was him. I saw his name in the credits when I was looking at IMDb and went, oh, he was here? He was Einstein? All right. Turns out he was the old man and the boy as well? What?
Well, I have not had the misfortune of watching that one.
What a career. What a career. He's been in some gold and he's in the boy. There's a shit stain towards the end of the career. So, yeah. But, yeah, so it's made up of all these moments of Barclay kind of impressing people and being more confident. The first example, I think, is when Crusher scanned him, says, oh, you're all right from the flash, everything's fine. And she says, oh, it'll be, a day or whatever till these scans come in just to confirm that everything else is okay. He's
like, you can do it quicker.
Yeah, he basically turns around and says, if you just do this and then you can treat it like a computer, it'll be a couple of hours instead. He doesn't get a chance to prove it necessarily, but he does kind of go around and then starts, solving other problems with the ship, solving problems. Even saying, because they're going to repair the satellite thing, it's like, to do it safely so nothing explodes, it'll take a couple of weeks, we'll have to do it this way. And he's like, I disagree. And immediately everyone's like, oh, why did we invite him to the meeting? Well, we could have just left him. But he's here and he's correcting Geordi. He's like, oh, we could do them all simultaneously and have it be done in a couple of days.
It's fine.
And Picard's like, are you serious? I was just told 2 weeks. You're telling me you can do it 2 days?
He's like, your chief engineer's a chump. Let me handle this.
Yes.
And for once, my flippant attitude is actually representative of the character.
Oh, for sure. Yes. I obviously, from here it goes to the point where to solve the problem, he basically builds himself an interface in the holodeck, which lets him connect to the computer. And then once his brain's connected to the computer, it expands so much that he can't be put back into his own body without killing himself, because it's now too big for his brain, essentially. He's expanded too much. And that's where he gets a little bit 2001 with the, because Picard orders him to go back into his body. He's like, I'm afraid I can't do that, Captain. And it's very, very 2001. But even the reason why I say it's like a jokey version of 2001 is because this probe, as we find out later, was trying to communicate with civilizations basically, and it failed with the satellites, it failed with the ship's computer, but it was able to reprogram Barclay, and that's why he became so smart and confident. And it was all leading to Barclay eventually saying, "Oh, I can take you to this place where we'll expand human intelligence and expand the human experience." And he essentially super warps them to the middle of the galaxy, where this giant head, the big giant head, did you ever watch The Third Rock from the Sun, Connor?
I did. Just okay.
All right. Yes.
It wasn't worth the hassle.
For the audio listeners, I did the salute from the big Third Rock from the Sun for the big giant head. Well, I did the one that the three people do. Dix, of course, was because he's the commander, was more like that kind of thing.
That looks about right. Yeah.
Yes. Of course, I don't quite have the body language of the master that is John Lithgow to really get it across. I do have the hairline though to make it look right. So positives.
You got something going for you. Yeah.
Positives in the places. But essentially, it turns out this civilization is also just exploring like the Enterprise does, but instead of going anywhere, it just attracts everyone to come by sending out these probes. So the reason why I say it's like 2001, because it's literally a case of, an advanced civilization left a probe for us to follow, and it kind of took us to them.
And may have evolved a human beyond what it should have done.
Yeah. But otherwise, it's kind of just a funny version, because when they get there, this big head's like, yeah, here's what I learned about you. let's just talk. And...
Yeah, basically it's like, yeah, no, I'm just like you. I just want information. I just want to explore the galaxy like you are. Just do it in my own way.
Barclay, who's normal now, but understands all this because, they put him back together and made him okay. He comes out at the bridge and explains all this to Picard. The big head just kind of smiles and nods and is like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, see, listen to your man. He knows what he's talking about.
Let's get chatting. And we just cut ahead to like a week later or whatever. And...
I do like every so often of this, the head just like nods. A big smile and nod.
Yes. He's got it's like a part of his forehead's cut out and it's like a sort of like holographic or a little like shiny part in his forehead. Give him a look. I kind of laughed a lot when we got to this point though. I kind of chuckled. Like, okay, I appreciate what this is, but I also think it looks a bit goofy. And it's like, okay, it's a little bit original Star Trek. It's a bit like a funny version of 2001. It's a bit of this, but it's a bit of that.
It's a little bit Wizard of Oz.
A bit of Wizard of Oz. I think what makes this episode work is all the Barclay stuff and just having fun with his interactions with the crew. Obviously, he finally asks out Troy because when he's all confident, he's like, there's a really nice walk and because of the belt that's on that side of the ship, they should be nice and shiny. This time of night or whatever. I don't know what he says. It's something like that. Everything's going to look really pretty, but his view, it's that wouldn't be appropriate. I'm your counselor. Is that appropriate? Notably though, when they're having a meeting about this, because they have to start like disconnecting the computer from rooms so they can talk without Barclay hearing them, because he's connected to the computer. Which Worf doesn't have a lot in this episode, but he does have one moment here. So like, oh, okay, we can talk without the computer listening to us. And he just sort of grunts and goes, "You mean Barclay? We can talk without Barclay listening to us."
I think I know the moment you're on about. I thought this was earlier in the episode, because this is before he's done anything that weird, and they're like, "Is it dangerous? Can we really lock him up for just being smart? It's
after he's connected with the computer because it's literally Geordi's just like he pulls out some chips and he's like, I've taken out these things.
Fair enough.
But notably, so they have another meeting. This is later in the episode, or maybe it's earlier in the episode when they're in Picard's ready room, and they're saying, yeah, he's acting weird. He's been all confident. Like, is this a problem? And he's acting out of character. And Troy says, "Oh, he even made a pass at me last." Because Picard asks a very good question. He says, "Well, has he done anything dangerous? Has he actually threatened anyone? Is he a problem?" I mean, it's one thing if he's being really smart and uncharacteristic, but if he's still being a good officer, then
what's the problem?
There's nothing I can really do about it, or why should I even really care that much beyond just
we've gained an asset. It is potentially
beyond maybe just like, oh, the sudden change might be an indicative of his mental health or something. Maybe that's a concern, but other than that, there's nothing super pressing here. And Troy's like, "Well, he made a pass at me last night," and they all just kind of stares like, "Well," and that's weird for him. Like that's
yeah, they're all like, "That's not dangerous."
But I know I'd love the comedy beat at the end of this though when they're walking it, because even in the moment, Riker, the way he turns to look at her like, "Wait, what?" And at the end of the scene when they're walking out his ready room, he's like, "So you said he made a pass at you, but you neglected to mention if it was successful," and she doesn't answer. She sort of smiles and we know she turned him down, but she just sort of smiles like, "I'm just gonna let him think," and walks away.
Let him stew. She's having fun with it.
Yeah. But the episode does end with her saying, "Hey, let's go for that walk." And it's almost like because he's back to himself and he's not uncharacteristically, it's like, "Oh, I'm actually appreciative that he's himself again. So I would like to go on this walk with him."
It's borderline cruel on him, almost. It's like, well, now we'll go on that date.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit more sweet than that. I think that's a bit unfair.
Fair enough.
I mean, if anything, I think it's more sweet because it's saying, no. I prefer you to be who you are because it's real and not some fake
I get where you're coming from,
version of you. But he does have a little bit of it left over because as they're walking out, he's the 3D chess game's going on, and he walks over and says, moves a piece and says, "Checkmate in 8 moves." And walks out. It's just a little beat. Then like, maybe he's retained some of that knowledge. In the same way that Xander from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, after he turned into a soldier via a magic spell one Halloween, retained some of his military expertise after the spell was reversed.
Yes, this is exactly like that.
It's exactly like that. Perfect comparison. I was critiqued too, right? The first review we did at The Expanse, because that was the first thing we recorded when we came back, there was a comment that said there was no Buffy reference. Peter's forgotten how to do this. So I need to get that. I've not done an Expanse yet. But
no, I saw the comment because I think the comment started with, "I think Peter's out of the swing of it and has forgotten how to do this." I was like, "Oh God, what did we get wrong on this review?" And then I read the rest of it. It's like, there's no Buffy reference. I was like, yeah, that shithousery.
what? It's a staple. It's a staple of the content. And
didn't miss that in my break.
Oh, I bet he did. He says that, but he was sitting there feeling the winter nights, going, "Oh, there's been no Buffy reference. Oh, I can't go on my life."
No one's calling something a hit television show.
I don't understand any TV shows that I'm watching because Peter's not compared any of it to Buffy yet.
You think I had time to watch TV?
Well, whatever you were, I'm sure you were doing something in your month with no recording.
Lot of movies. Lot of movies.
Yes.
And comics, frankly.
Uh-huh.
It was nice. It was different. Although, honestly, not having a PC was bloody torturous.
It's funny, actually, because I think we would never plan for such a long break from things, but it was kind of nice in a way to have a bit of a break from the regular churn of the content. But it was such a long break that I have to admit, by the time we got to like that last week or two before it was time to come back.
Come on, can we get going now?
Oh yeah, I was starting to get like I'm ready. I'm itching to go again. Like
yeah,
I feel
the first like week or two, you're like, oh, this is nice. This is pleasant.
Yeah. Break from you is honestly not that bad. But
I wish I could have one.
Aye, but after like over a month, it was like, all right, okay, I'm ready to get going again. I want to get back to the next gen. I want to get back to TV content. I feel like I've just been lounging about. I mean, I still was doing stuff with other people, obviously, but
Yeah, I think it felt a little bit okay because it was like over the Christmas period at the end there. So it was like, well, people tend to lounge around at this time of year. It's fine. We're just being normal.
Yeah. So, but hey ho. So no, it's a delightful little episode of Next Gen. Not one that I think will stick out in my mind as being one of the best, but
I think we'll remember it just because it's Barkley, and it'll be part of that the Barkley series,
the Barkley saga. Yes.
Yeah, but it's not like super memorable in its own right, but it's fun.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was almost a nice, pleasant, just sort of reintroduction to all the characters again to be in that world. So cool stuff. So we'll look ahead at what next episode is going to be here then. With episode 20, it's a Q episode because it's called Cupid. Notably spelt with just QPID.
Very good.
So here's the description on IMDb. Aiming to get out of Jean-Luc's debt, Q forces Captain Picard and his officers to live out the legend of Robin Hood with a past acquaintance as Maid Marian. Or Marianne.
Okay, one, you're going to hate this.
Probably.
Two, it's Troy's mother, right?
That's the funniest option. I'm going to make it clear. I don't see her in the images because there's 4 images in IMDb, and because of the layout being so big and chunky now, I have not seen the cast list. I'm not scrolling down, so I'm not going to look.
Okay, don't spoil it.
I'm not going to look.
That's my prediction. Past acquaintance. You got the awkward quote unquote romantic history.
It's the funniest choice. Unless they do something crazy like bring back. Remember the vacation episode? He had that love interest for one episode. Bring her back.
Sure.
Yeah, this may not be for me. It is notable though that outside of the pilot all the way back at the start of the show, this is easily the lowest rated Q episode in IMDb because they've all been rated really high in season 2, 3. So yeah. So I mean, it's not like something like that. It's not a stinker, but it looks of it. But it's just.
I mean, for the record, I might not like it either. But just okay, we're doing Robin Hood stuff. That's already a negative point for you, I imagine.
I'm not enthusiastic about the idea. I admit. So, but I'll go on with an open mind. I'd forgotten how close we were to sort of the back end of season 4 actually, because we're on episode 20 next. So yeah, we're getting.
Yeah, we're in the last handful, right?
We're getting late in there in the season.
24 or 26 this season?
26 it should be.
Still 26. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
For some reason in my head it dropped at some point, but maybe it doesn't.
Season 2 was short because of the strike to 22.
Maybe that's what's in my head. Yeah.
But yeah, that's been 26 typically. So. There you go. That is Star Trek Next Generation. Glad to be back. Hopefully, you're all back in the ride with us, and I'm getting excited. There was we never talked about it on Discovery. I was annoyed. I realized it in the finale to Discovery. We never talked about the final line because the payoff to Saru looking for his phrase the payoff was actually Michael having like hers.
Yes.
Rather than him getting one. I would say what it is. Just This is not the place for it, but it made me think of it. Because all I was going to say is, there's a plot towards it, and I won't say too much just to keep it spoiler light as possible, but some of the characters in a holo program towards the end of the season were all showing up as different species, and it was a fun way to have a character who's usually an alien look human and so on. But one of the species, Culber's transformation, I didn't remember what that race was, but Tara did, and the reason why she did is because that race plays a big part of Deep Space Nine. And I'm saying that because I'm excited to get close to Deep Space Nine, because I know once we get to season 6 of Next Gen, that's when Deep Space Nine comes into it as well. So,
yeah, maybe towards the end of this year.
That sounds very plausible. Yeah, if we keep going one a week. I mean, and sometimes when we're quiet, we'll go 2 a week. And honestly, given that a lot of production slowed down last year, I actually think it may not be that long till we are doing 2 of these a week, which would be very convenient when we have Deep Space Nine as well. We can do one of both a week as opposed to alternating.
That would be ideal, wouldn't it?
So it wouldn't be surprising to me if by even just next month, because right now we're catching up on stuff that we've fallen behind in, but I think once that's done, we might actually be on 2 of these a week. So
yeah, no, it's very possible. Let's say we are hitting that point where TV, it started back up for the most part, but there's a lot of breaks. Things are stopping and starting, and it's a bit all over the place and inconsistent. Yeah,
there's not as much on right now as there would be at this busy time of year as things start back up. So, but yeah, so there you go. We'll see you next time for Next Generation. You can support us over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for as little as $1 per month. Keep all the content coming. You can otherwise, of course, just hit the like button, subscribe, all those things. YouTube uses all that to gauge success, and therefore will share us out more. So it is the best way to help us grow and expand and find more success. So thank you very much for joining us. Keep watching Star Trek, and somewhere out there, in the distance in the stars, ascending to a higher being, Wesley Crusher is in complete control.